Welcome to HMG Live, a production of HMG Strategy, your global partner helping you reinvent the future of work. Home to the HMG Strategy Top Technology Executives to Watch Awards, and also offering the HMG Marketplace, a fast, easy, safe, and efficient way to connect with the right vendors for your technology needs.
We can't be together at these events, right? But I think the next best thing is being able to connect through the marketplace.
And now, a warm welcome to today's host, Lead Principal and CEO of HMG Strategy, Hunter Muller.
Good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the 2020 Charlotte CIO Executive Leadership Summit. My team and I are delighted to be here today. We think we have a world-class agenda and an amazing program, folks. So glad you dialed in. Please stay with us right to the end. We will be rewarding top tech leaders that matters recognition awards. So today's partly powered by Rubrik. Rubrik's a really interesting company out of the Valley, unicorn. Rubrik delivers a single software platform to manage and protect cloud at the edge and on-premise. Enterprises choose Rubrik's cloud data management software to secure backup and recovery, accelerate cloud adoption, and enable automation at scale. Organizations of all sizes adopt cloud-first policies. They rely on Rubrik's Polaris SaaS platform to unify data for security, governance, and compliance. Learn more at rubrik.com. When they reach out to you, please take a call. Support today's event, and we'll be supporting the Charlotte Sim chapter here with a nice check today as being our strategic partner. So today's powered by Better Cloud and RingCentral. We'll hear more from both of those players here in just a minute. Really appreciate your active support and engagement. And then you can actually find right now in the chat a link to a survey we're doing with Zendesk, creating a culture of empathy in uncertain times. Take the click on the link, take the survey, and you'll receive a copy of the report once it comes out. And a big shout out to our marketplace partners. As we mentioned there in the opening video, Appian, Ariaka, Awake, Darktrace, Forescout, Globant, Obsidian, PagerDuty, Sonatype, Tanium, and Tessian are all key players that you can learn more about, watch some videos in the marketplace, read white papers, some client testimonials, as well as set up a meeting with the right top player from their organization. So love a little input regarding the marketplace. Here's a little quick poll. What is your organization's specific technology need right now? If you'd simply check off the box and hit submit, that would be awesome. And then a program we've been very serious about now for over 12 years, recognizing top tech leaders that matter. Some 200 plus tech leaders we've recognized over the past 12 years. Later today, again, the program will be recognizing 3 key players in the market. But please get engaged, be active with us regarding our global platform, our global recognition platform, and here's some more with a video.
Later in today's program, HMG Strategy founder and CEO Hunter Muller will proudly recognize and honor global technology executives who matter. These top-tier CIOs, CISOs, and other technology executives have genuinely distinguished themselves in business transformation, digital disruption, innovation, and talent development through even the most difficult circumstances. These awards are not given lightly. They are earned. Recipients join an elite community of forward-thinking global technology executives in the HMG Strategy community. We are delighted to celebrate these exemplary leaders and their teams who have delivered unparalleled value to their organizations, their communities, and our world. Please stay with us for the award ceremony and meet the 2020 Global Technology Executives who matter.
Excellent. So please stay with us right to the end here. Hey, first up, we have John Rossman. John's the managing partner at Rossman Partners. John's had an amazing career spanning some 3 decades plus. Worked at
don't need to state that, Hunter.
He's worked at top tier companies like Alvarez and Marsal, as well as actually worked with Jeff at Amazon. And the whole theme is here, what would Jeff do? And I love it. John, welcome to the program. And is this your third book?
This is the third book, Think Like Amazon, 50 and a half Ideas to Become a Digital Leader.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to really study the Amazon way, the Amazon model.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that's unique about Amazon is how deliberate they are in how they go about their work. And I was there a while ago. I was there from early 2002 through late 2005. And we were crafting our principles, we were crafting our mechanisms. And I keep in touch with a lot of people, and I'm always testing, like, hey, is this how it still happens? Is this what goes on? And while the business has changed, 10,000 times since I was there, how they go about their work has remained fairly consistent. And so what I tried to capture in this book was kind of that full playbook of different principles, different mechanisms, different tools. And the complexity is like which one to put in play for different circumstances. That's a tough one to address, but this is kind of the full-on playbook of basically answering the question of like that I've been asked so many times over the years, like, well, how would Jeff think about blah? What would Amazon do in this circumstance? And that's what I tried to capture in the book.
Awesome. Great to have you here. What a timely topic here. Really, John, things have dramatically changed in just 7 months, right? All of a sudden, the pandemic hits, and every company is a tech company. Every company, number one priority is a safe and secure enterprise and digitally innovating. What is it about Amazon, the culture and the way they think inside that uniquely prepares Amazon to win, basically, right?
Yeah, well, I think a few things is, first, they didn't wait for a pandemic, right? And so they've been leaning into this for a long time. And the things they've been leaning into for a long time are, first is they invest in infrastructure, in capabilities, in trials, and new techniques well before they're needed, so that when things accelerate, when things change, they're able to rely on those capabilities better, faster, easier than a lot of organizations, which really comes to kind of this long-term orientation versus short-term results. I think the other thing is this kind of balance between crisp executive communication and teams interpreting that, but not waiting for direction or interpretation on that. So when Jeff says, I am turning my entire focus to the response to COVID, every team, every leader goes, oh, okay, it's my job to interpret that for the business that I run at Amazon. They wait for somebody. And so it's kind of this like empowered leadership that's set off with really crisp communication. And then I'll just go back to kind of this long-term orientation. One of the great recent quotes from Bezos was in I think it was the June quarterly results. And his opening line was, shareholders of Amazon ought to take a seat, right? And what they went on to say was that they were going to invest the entirety of their projected $4 billion operating profit into response to COVID, right? And I think that orientation of like not prioritizing like what the street reaction is to doing the right thing, that is a long-term perspective from Amazon, and it frees them up to really think about the customer, about their capabilities, about what's right for the business over a long term, and not to be short-term focused. And I think short-termism, which is an actual term, is really the corporate pandemic that has infected so many organizations today.
Well, the exciting thing too, John, is watching how they, once they pick a category, an item to go after, they typically dominate, right? And so, how can enterprise executives prepare themselves actually to compete when Amazon comes into their space? Pretty difficult, you'd have to admit.
Yeah, it's difficult, but think about all the innovation that's going on today, right? And all the, if we're thinking about just retail, all the small brands that are innovating and successful today. And one of the things Amazon says is like, we're less competitor focused. We're entirely obsessed about our customer. And they actually mean that. I don't know if, I'm sure a lot of people here have worked with AWS. Try to get an AWS salesperson to be critical about a competitor. You have to force them to do that in my experience, because they truly like, hey, we're here to focus on the problem. What the competition does is kind of like, you know, we're comfortable in competing for our customer and everything. And I think that orientation is the orientation others should take, which is focus on your customer, focus on how you're going to differentiate. I think depending upon the space, the category, there are a few things that you know, of how you compete with. And I think in particular, kind of customized service and personalization and orientation is an area that at scale, Amazon, like they just aren't that interested in that type of capability. But I would just be less competitive and more focused on just like, what's our winning formula? Who's our customer? How do we serve our customer? And that's really taking from Amazon's playbook, which was the entire objective of this book, which is what can we take from Amazon to incorporate into our strategy, our principles, our tools.
Very cool stuff. Hey, you know, to ground it out right now with this flattening of the world, with the Zoom or the video world that we live in now, right? Always on. The war for talent has gotten more accentuated because we're really competing now in a global arena, right? And it must be pretty interesting, the hiring criteria that they have at Amazon. I know many people that have gone from an enterprise over to Amazon for various reasons. How would you coach a tech leader, a CIO, if they are looking to recruit and retain their best, and maybe they're running up right against Amazon in the context of, you know, I'm looking at the other, you know, the candidates looking at company A and company B, and company B is Amazon.
Yeah, you know, I think the talent, especially in kind of technology and capabilities building, what they're interested in doing is interesting work, which means doing interesting projects, building new things, right? And really being a builder. And so I think one of the things that organizations can do, and they should do this for a lot of reasons, is do more custom stuff, right? Like really figure out how do we differentiate our strategy and our organization, and really lean into how do we be absolutely world-class, not mediocre at it. And sometimes that leads you down a custom capability path. Sometimes it's partnering with others, but the best people like exciting projects. And to me, that's there's so much that goes along with kind of corporate strategy and that orientation. But I think if you offer kind of mediocre work and mediocre growth, then it becomes much harder to recruit and retain. And especially it's the retain piece, top talent.
Okay, excellent. Great. Thanks for the insights there. You know, in the book, what are two of the hidden ideas that you want to share with the audience here today?
Well, a couple of things. So I think especially for this audience, one of the kind of general approaches I try to get to is like business people need to be better partners with their CIOs and with their leaders. And so one of the chapters is called, you know, architecture is the business strategy. And what I try to give business readers is a set of tools on how to be a better partner around architecture to have a better conversation with their technology leader. And I kind of play this game that's called the IDDs, right? Well, what are the IDDs? What you want from your architecture is the IDDs: availability, scalability, measurability, security. And you can, when you actually break it down into those capabilities, then you can define it, you can measure it, you can create requirements around it. You can be a much more discerning business person to help make a better decision with your IT organization. But what I find is, you know, business people like, oh, you know, these things are vague, they're foreign because they don't understand them. And so what I try to do is just give a set of tools to help put a better definition to help technology leaders be more successful with their business partners. So that's one. The second one is just all around friction, right? And, you know, Bezos is on record of saying 80% of Amazon's innovation have come from operational excellence. And I think it's the easy swim lane for all of us to win in is how do we reduce friction? These are the little things, the contacts, the questions, the errors, the omissions, the things we've grown comfortably numb with that we ask our customers to deal with. And we should be better than that. Like we should figure out what is the little things we're asking our customers to do, the double data entry, the reintroduction, the vague delivery windows, like whatever it is, and press to get better on it. And that constant pressing, called operational excellence, leads us to innovation, leads us to more curiosity, which then leads to bigger moments. And so I think customer friction is just, you know, that's really Amazon's 25-year story, is reducing customer friction, right? Getting stuff, discovering stuff better, making it cheaper, making it faster, making it more transparent, doing it in a way that you don't have a lot of questions and vagueness about it.
You know, John, more than ever, the CEO is demanding innovation from every aspect of the company, every role within the company. What is Amazon's innovation process, and what can we learn from that, and what it can be broadly adopted to the enterprise across industry?
Yeah, big question. One thing before we run out of time, I just want to, I think, Hunter, you're going to be offering to send a copy of Think Like Amazon to everybody, so send your information, but there's a couple chapters in the particular. So one is there is a annual planning process. It's messy. It's called OP1, but it's messy by design, right? And it's really the hashing out process of like, what's our business plans? What are the things we could go do? And then rationalizing that. And then the tools that they use for getting clarity and debating that is this whole kind of working backwards, starting with the customer and working backwards. And these are, we write out ideas, we write narratives, we write future press releases, we write FAQs, we write user manuals, all before we decide if we're going to do it. And that kind of goes slow to go fast, getting clarity before we go into development, before we go into being agile, before we proceed on these things. I think that is the big unlock from Amazon. And they talk a lot about it. They talk about having this curious culture of writing. And man, I work a lot with my clients on getting better at articulating and defining what's the idea, because we all think we're talking about the same thing, but we're typically not, right? And it allows senior leaders to make better decisions on what to proceed with.
You know, John, we've been talking about reimagining the customer journey and now reimagining and inventing new business models here at HMG now for several years. Why is that so critically important to be a success in today's volatile and innovative markets?
Well, I think the lifespan of companies is pretty short, right? And I think there's lots of different indicators on that fact. And so I think that, you know, Amazon talks about being day one or day two, and a day two company is one that's kind of in stasis, and you're really just optimizing for generally short-term profitability. And so if you're not investing in the future enough, it's an inevitable slow trajectory towards inevitable death, right? And that's the history of companies, and you're just trying to extend the pathway on this.
You know, John, how do you typically work with clients? Just 30 seconds on that.
Yeah, so I do a few things. I do keynotes, I do workshops, but my favorite work is actually deeply working with a leader or team on kind of what their strategy is, what their culture is, how do they go about it. So I do advisory work. I don't lead projects anymore, but I participate over a longer period of time. And that's how I work with clients.
Hey, John, great to see you. And thanks so much for coming on the program today. Again, John Rossman, if we have your email, we will, and your address, we will send you a copy of John's book.
Perfect. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Bye now. Hey, next up, we have David Politis. David is the founder and CEO of Better Cloud, and we're going to discuss the impact of accelerating SaaS adoption on the modern IT team. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hunter. Good to see you.
Great to see you as well. What's on your mind today?
Oh, a lot. You know, I think like we've talked about in the past, the thing that I've seen over the last 7 months, you know, we talk about just how IT has changed, how work has changed. I'm seeing it just more and more every day now of the impact of that. And I had a conversation the other day with one of our customers who was talking about the fact that now IT is really responsible literally for every interaction that their employees have, every single interaction. If they have an interaction with a coworker, it's done over some technology. If they have an interaction with a partner or a customer, it's done over some technology. And all of that, that's amazing. If you think about that, 7 months ago, there were interactions happening. People were flying places, meeting in person, working on a whiteboard, sitting in a conference room. Those things are gone. Every single interaction that happens in a company is being driven and powered by IT, which is amazing to think about. And I think it's starting to have IT reimagine their role and what they can do and the impact that they can have on businesses, which for me is amazing. I mean, I've spent my entire career literally in cloud, in SaaS, and always serving IT. And so for me, this is not the way I would like to have seen it happen, but this is definitely that tipping point that I think is changing IT's role and changing what's happening with work and how people are working. So,
Hey, David, you had a vision 10 years ago or so and launched Better Cloud about 9 years ago, right? And you've been on an amazing path, and the pandemic kind of played right into your wheelhouse. What was the problem or issue that you saw in the enterprise architecture that Better Cloud addresses?
Yeah, so so the company is about 9 years old now. In a couple of weeks, it'll be 9 years old. And what I saw companies, enterprises moving to the cloud and moving to SaaS applications. And every time that I saw these companies make that shift, the thing I heard was my end users love it for whatever reason. They like using Slack. They like using Gmail for work. They like using whatever the case may be. The users love this collaboration and they could innovate better and everything. But for IT, they kept having these same challenges over and over. And it ranged from which applications are in use. How do I know which applications are being used in my environment? How much is being spent on those applications? How often are they being used? How do I automate all the manual work? I mean, the amount of sprawl of applications now has created all this work that IT was saying, I need like 10 extra people just to do this, to offboard employees now, to onboard employees, to do all the configuration of the applications. And then ultimately, now that all this data, all my most sensitive, most important information is living in the cloud, in these SaaS applications, how do I make sure it's secure? How do I make sure a file is not being shared with, credit card information publicly from Box? How do I make sure that employees not forwarding their corporate email to their personal Gmail account? And so we've seen this happening for years and years and years, but most of our customers were really the cutting edge, the early adopters of SaaS. And over the last year, we started seeing more of the mainstream, the companies that have been around for longer, making that shift and doing that digital transformation. But as we've talked about before, that digital transformation that some people had planned for 3 years happened in 3 months, or in some cases 3 weeks. And so for us, we after 9 years, we've hit that tipping point that we've been assuming was going to come earlier, and we've definitely hit that tipping point.
So you have some amazing clients. I noticed Zoom, Walmart, Square, probably cross-industry as well as financial services. Again, what specifically does Better Cloud do?
So what we do is all those things I talked about, we help with that. So we give people the ability to see which applications they use. We call that our discover functionality. So they can install Better Cloud, and through a variety of discovery methods, we'll tell people, hey, these are the applications that are in use. These are the people who use them. You can drill down. You can see if they've given special access to an application, maybe through a marketplace, and given, for example, you can install a Chrome extension and give it read-write access to your files or your email or your calendar. We can see all of that, and we can give IT that visibility. And then we let them automate the work. So, for example, very common use case in Better Cloud, offboarding employees. So you need to offboard an employee. The average offboarding takes 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours for someone in IT to click all the buttons to offboard someone. We automate that to 1 second. And then from a security perspective, we're looking at all the cloud storage, where all the cloud files are sitting. We're looking at calendars and email settings and all the different objects that are living in these cloud applications, and we're giving people that visibility and control. It's important, not just the visibility, but not only will we tell you what's happening, you can build workflows and policies to make sure that all your data stays safe, and that when something occurs, send an email to the person who owns the file, start educating them. Again, we're seeing this change now where people don't want to just shut everything off. It used to be you put it in a CASB, you block everything, you encrypt everything. It's not like that anymore. Now people want to enable IT, security, want to enable people to work in this new way. And so it's really about putting almost invisible guardrails, if you will, or invisible hands to help people do it, but do it securely. So it's about educating. It's about making sure you're really being granular in terms of your remediation. So we help with all of that. And we are, we've seen this category of SaaS ops emerge because of all of this. Over the last couple of years, this category of SaaS ops has emerged in a big way. And we're really excited to be at the forefront of it.
Let's talk a little bit more about SaaS ops. Where do you see it today, and where do you see it going?
SaaS ops, the way I describe it to people, everyone knows DevOps now. So I always use DevOps to make the analogy and to make the comparison. DevOps, first time the term DevOps was used, it is kind of amazing to think about this. First time DevOps was used was in 2009. And that's because of AWS and the rise of AWS and the rise of infrastructure as a service, GCP and Azure. Because of that, DevOps was created. There needed to be this new practice. There needed to be a new way of handling this paradigm of developing in these different environments. And so the same thing is going for the front end corporate technology, and that's SaaS ops. And so if you think about the adoption of SaaS, of course we've hit that tipping point this year, but probably the last 2 to 3 years, we started seeing that acceleration. And so there's a new practice area emerging to deal with that new paradigm. How do we deal with this sprawl of best of breed SaaS applications? How do we think about enabling our employees to really do their best work and be collaborative while keeping the company secure, while not having to grow the IT team? So that's what SaaS ops is really about.
Excellent. Hey, Dave, a little off script, but I've heard from really seasoned people, former seasoned people from very large SaaS companies talking about the security exposure that is inherently there. And then is obviously is the way they interoperate. Can you help with that as well?
100%. So for us, the way I look at it, most of the SaaS platforms that people are using, they're safe and they're secure, the platform itself. The issue is how people, the end users, are using the platform and how they're manipulating the settings and configuring the software. And so for us, yes, we help with all of that. So from a security perspective, I call it more operational security. It's really about not just getting a bunch of alerts and having something sitting there and giving you, overwhelmed number of alerts. Instead, it's very granular. Okay, I want to know when a user who's in this organizational unit does this with their data in this way, and it has this stuff in the document or the file or the calendar, and then we can build policies around securing that. So we do help with that. It is what has gone on with COVID and this shift to work from home, the adoption of these SaaS applications, not just the number, but within each application, we can see number of files being created, number of Miro boards, number of Zoom meetings being held. All of it, we watch it over all the years, and it's literally gone up exponentially. And as that happens, there's just more data being created. There's more collaboration happening. People are adding their PR agency to their Slack environment, but they do it to all the channels by mistake, and now the person can read everything in Slack. All of those things, that's what we help people both identify and remediate.
How do people get started with you, David? What's the first step? Do you have a pilot, a POC?
So the best thing to do with us, what I suggest to everyone is when you engage with us, we can do an assessment of your environment. And so we can actually run that discover, manage, and secure functionality. We can look across all those areas in your environment and give you a report that says, hey, you've got 200 SaaS applications in use. Here's what we think is wasted spend or not being used or duplicate applications. Here's what it's taking you to onboard, offboard, and here's what you're looking at from an exposure security-wise. And so that's usually the best way. We can also do POCs. And so, like I've said before, especially for the people joining these events and your community, people can always email me directly, dave@bettercloud.com, and I'm always happy to put them in touch with the right people on our team. And yeah, we'd love the opportunity. I'm sure everyone here is dealing with it. Of course you are at this point, and so we're happy to help, and we're happy to first show you what's there before we engage further.
Hey, David, thanks for coming on the program here. I'm really excited to have you as a client, as a friend. Folks, I think Better Cloud's a HMG top pick. You definitely got to check it out. Reach out to David, or David's team will be reaching to you, and take a meeting. It's worth investing the time. Again, David, thanks so much. And I'm going to invite you to my CEO club, okay?
Great. Thank you, Hunter.
Good to see you. Bye now. Next up, we have Naveed Hussain. Naveed is the VP of Vertical Programs at RingCentral. RingCentral is another company that's just been on fire lately. Naveed, welcome to the program. Great to see you. I think you're on mute there. Okay.
There we go. How you doing?
Excellent.
I was trying to get this virtual background to look good.
Naveed, your shirt is on fire. I can see it.
It is. It's got the RingCentral orange. We got to look good.
Okay, there you go. Love it. Hey, give us an update. What have you been doing at RingCentral, and give us an update. People might not know what RingCentral is or who RingCentral is. It's a universal platform for accelerating communications, right?
Absolutely. It's a unified communication as a service application. So it really brings all that collaboration that you need to do, this breaking down the silos between your business units and everyone else and your outside customers. And it just creates one place for you to collaborate, right? It enhances your customer experience, so you're all part of one platform. So you spend once and you get many returns out of that.
And a global organization, correct?
Absolutely. We're a 5,100 person organization all over the world. We have native capabilities in over 41 countries with 30 data centers around the world. All of our technology runs through our data centers. So when it comes to your previous speaker and security, we're very heavy on security. We're very heavy on we're a cloud first company. We were born in the cloud, so we didn't have to convert and bring all those hardware pieces together. We pure cloud play, so ability to scale dramatically and really leverage what the cloud is all about, and really be that SaaS company that people expect.
Hey, Naveed, you really are a thought leader and a former practitioner, right? Now on the partner side as an industry vertical thought leader. When you think about 7 months in a pandemic, and we're still mostly all working remote, the key is culture, and culture drives performance and productivity and innovation, right? What have you learned over the past 7 months, and what's your thought on the future on how to accelerate performance in companies using video?
I tell you, the first thing you're going to hear on LinkedIn or on Facebook or anything out there, I am so tired of video meetings. And if anybody says otherwise, I would be extremely shocked, right? The fact is that the culture is exactly that, right? We've left because of the pandemic. We left the office space, and human beings are social animals to begin with, right? And most of the work as a former CIO I was able to do with my business units is go down the hall, talk to all my business unit leaders, and shake their hands, take them out of coffee, have a conversation about their needs, right? And then build it. It's so much harder when you have back-to-back video meetings, and people consider that digital transformation, but the reality is it's not really digital transformation. It's a digital shift. It's a shift to virtualization, but we still haven't actually leveraged the possibilities of video and online communication and collaboration, right? There's so much more that we can do. And when it comes to culture, it really has to stem from the sincerity of leadership to take time out and meet with their folks, right? Even if you take a few minutes out of your workday to have a video meeting or a quick message out to your team members and say, hey, how's it going? How are you feeling, right? This way, this whole environment that we're moving into, or this is not going to go away, right? So we're going to need to adopt and figure out how do we balance both. And it's like Pavlov's dog. If you always experience video to be a work element and it's a stress element, you're always going to react that way every time you come on. But if it becomes like you're talking to your boss or you're talking to your colleague and it's a friendly social gathering in a way, right? Not always about work. That's what's going to change culture. It's going to make people turn on their videos more often. It's going to have people accept these meetings, take breaks, and take 5 minutes before a meeting, and then start a meeting 5 minutes later, so that you can create that safe work environment. Really, that's what you need to do.
It's really thoughtful. Well said. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
You know, it comes down to people like doing business and working with people that they like, right? Making friends and building strong, healthy relations.
You're most successful with the business units that you're close to, right? You're going to be more innovative. You're going to be way more open with those business units, right? Than you will be with ones that you're only working within the guardrails. If you're only working within the guardrails, then you don't know if you can really trust and share that key information with them. But having that trust, and the more interactions you have, even through the messaging platform on RingCentral, or pick up the phone like the old-fashioned way, right? And just talk to them so that they don't have to turn on video or whatever. It's just a nicer experience. If you calm down all those nerves and all that stress that you have, right? And like, how many times do you and I just pick up the phone and say hello? You know, it's just, hey, and we have a friendly relationship, and we think about it and we say, hey, let's do this, right? And you're more likely to say, let's do this, if you build that relationship as a cordial relationship, rather than something on your calendar that you have to click on and make sure you're on time.
It really comes down to building trust, right? And collaboration.
Absolutely. Trust and collaboration are the new, I would say, speed bump, right? If you don't go over that speed bump and don't generally manage that successfully and really pay attention to it with sincerity, right? You're not going to build it. And you could totally destroy your oil pan, right? If you're used to those old cars. I know a lot of you guys have Teslas now, but you know, you could really destroy your oil pan on a speed bump, right? So go over it easy, build that trust, and really make it a real relationship, rather than, you know, I'm coming on just to talk to you about these 10 things that I need to get done for this quarter.
Hey, Naveed, what are some of the challenges you're helping your customers with now and into the future?
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of our customers are coming in and they're new to remote working, right? So, and they're new to how do I create that customer experience so that I'm not dealing with all these tools. And what's happening is that you have all these applications and none of them really work together, right? So even though RingCentral is at its core, it was born in the cloud for phone and PBX and then it became a collaboration company. But really, it's a platform, right? So what we're really helping customers do is say, take away that friction that you have between switching between applications. And if you live within a laptop, right? Let's make that environment better. So integrate your applications so that it's a frictionless workflow on the platform. So we're really getting people used to the fact that what they're dealing with is software and not hardware, and they don't have to buy a whole bunch of new modules. They can really leverage our APIs in our apps gallery and build the integrations into their CRM and build integrations into their ITIL tools and things like that, so that that whole experience is in one place and the staff aren't switching. If the staff are calm and easy with the adoption of the software as a whole, you guys were talking about enterprise architecture coming from the business units, right? And really understanding that business unit architecture and relieving the business unit from the learning curve, right? Because software is easy and software scales, right? And the more integrations you build into it and the more you make it part of the workflow of that business unit, it's going to have a higher adoption, and your return on investment and your revenue is going to go through the roof, because now we're not struggling with how do I make this work? How do I get in on this meeting? It's let's just do it, right? And coming back to, I'm wearing a Nike shirt, just do it. So just do it, right? So that's what we want our customers to be able to do, and think about how they're not just replacing what they had before, but what they're doing is building a real digital transformation strategy based on their architecture and based on how their business units work, so that they're actually getting a true return on investment and leaning out the work process. That's what I'm helping my customers with.
That's explanation I've heard from a thought leader around how digital and video can and a unified platform can help.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's about platform and it's about workflow, right? If it's not in your workflow, you're not going to use the tool. So it's just like going out and buying another product and getting 15% utilization, but you're still paying 100% for it. So if you really think about the user experience and start there, that customer experience is going to be that much better, because now the users are concentrating on how do I make this customer's intake better? How do I do first touch resolution? So that's coming back to our contact center portion, right? So what we're also trying to do is relieve a lot of the home agents who are answering these calls and requests from customers. If the customer's issues are resolved through texting, or if they're resolved upfront, you know, through IVR or whatever, let's do that. And then let's take the harder questions, the more thoughtful questions, and escalate that to a human being, and have the human answer the more complicated questions and spend more time with the customer, so the customer feels like, you know, he really cares about me. He really wants to take care of the problem. I'm going to come back and I'm going to stay with this company because they're looking at ways to make my life easier. I don't have to make another phone call or wait for them to respond, right? They're resolving the issue right now. And it's a human being, so it's a more complicated solution. So this person is thinking, right? And that thinking is what makes the difference, I think, for the customers.
Hey, Naveed, thanks for coming on the program, and thanks to RingCentral supporting the HMG platform. Really appreciate it. A quick poll here, folks. How ingrained is flexible and remote work in your current company culture? And how would you rate your impact as a leader in your company? If you could simply fill it out and submit, that'd be great. We got to go to the next segment. Perhaps we can share those results at the very end.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Excellent.
Bye.
Next up, securing the future of work. We have Ben Agner. Ben from Aflac. Ben, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Hunter.
Good to see you. Happy client here of Aflac, by the way. Quack, quack, right?
Gotta love the duck.
Gotta love the duck. Hey, when you think about securing the future of work, what's on your mind?
You know, really, it's about kind of the shift, the new normal, right? It's the fact that, you know, those physical barriers that we used to have for security are gone now, right? And you know, that trusted space that we all used to work from and we all used to come from no longer exists. And you know, really, I think it kind of gives us an opportunity to rethink how we do security and how we, you know, secure our workforce, because, you know, fundamentally, I think that this is going to shift the way that people do work from, you know, perpetually at this point.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you see any upside to this new model? Any benefits?
You know, there definitely is. You know, I personally work remote, right? Aflac is based out of Columbus, Georgia, and I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And you know, historically, there's been some lack of communication there, right? Because I wasn't physically in the meetings, I wasn't, you know, getting coffee at the coffee pot, right? And what this has done is kind of opened up barriers, right? The things I'm seeing more than I used to see, and I'm connecting dots better than I used to connect dots, because, you know, people are kind of shifting to the work model that I've been used to for years. And now it's that I'm no longer digging for information. People are coming to me with it. And that's a huge thing. That combined with, I mean, obviously the increased funding for digital transformation and everything that's happening across the board there is just been, you know, it's been nice to have the purse strings open up a little bit to get some stuff accomplished we've been looking to accomplish for a while.
Excellent. Hey, Ben, stay with us. I'll circle back to you. Next up, we have Lisa Tuttle. Lisa's the CISO for SPX Corporation. Hey, Lisa, a little bit about SPX and set a context on your role.
Sure. SPX is an international company. We're an industrial manufacturer across several segments, doing mostly configured to order equipment, but everything from commercial HVAC to transformers to a segment we call detection and measurement, which is obstruction lighting, underground utility location, transit systems, and drone detection.
Wow. So a global company, right?
Very much so, yes.
Interesting. So what, in this new work from home environment, what are some of the strategies that you've instituted, and what's the success been?
Actually, it was a fairly smooth transition. We were fortunate in that last year we started shifting much of our security endpoint protection to a cloud solution. So that was ripe for remote work capabilities, that off-network protection that we were now able to provide outside of VPN. So that was a really big win for us. We're also a company who does a lot of M&A. So that was another driver for getting us to more cloud-based solutions. So when we want to integrate networks, we're not waiting for several months before we feel that full connection to the network can occur. We're leveraging a cloud solution to provide immediate protection.
That's amazing. Any thoughts regarding this pandemic helping you drive innovation with the business?
Absolutely. While there's certainly Zoom fatigue, the adoption of it has been great, and in a way that I think we would never have realized had we not all been in this position. So the collaboration has definitely improved. People across our businesses who I've worked with a lot of years via email or conference calls, all of a sudden you're having these face-to-face conversations. And so much so that I've even established a relationship with some folks in the business where we do once a month an accountability check. How are we doing maybe on a specific project, but then how are we doing just from a leadership perspective?
Interesting stuff. Thanks so much, Lisa, for coming on the program. Stay with us. I'll circle back to you in just a minute. Hey, next up, Michael Piacente. Michael's a partner at Hitch Partners. Michael, welcome to the program.
Hey, Hunter. How's it going? By the way, that was probably one of the best explanations from Naveed that I've heard on that topic.
Oh, you agree?
So, absolutely. That was great. I actually wrote everything down.
Very solid. Yeah, really.
Yeah, that was great.
Thought leadership. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, when you think about, you're the one outlier on this panel, by the way. Michael's a top search exec. So you guys might want to take a note of what he's about to talk about. What are the trends, Michael?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, Ben and Lisa, great to hear your stories, and it certainly resonates with what we're seeing on a kind of global level. I mean, we focus on cloud-based companies, in there, specifically CISOs, companies that are cloud native or cloud first, and so that's really our niche. But being a niche player in that, we've seen kind of a tenfold increase in cloud solutions, not just companies putting their infrastructure in the cloud, but just really the productivity and collaboration tools around that. Specifically, companies, and I think Lisa kind of pointed out, is getting closer to the business and also getting closer to product, and being more involved in the product innovation. If you think about, a lot of enterprises over the past 9-10 months have become larger software development companies than they were just a year ago at this time. They've always been developing technology, but now it's at a totally different level. And so this opposition to digital channels or tools has really been waning. And so we're seeing much bigger emphasis on the reliance of cloud security. That's probably the biggest single area. The other things that the pandemic is really driving the future work is around hiring and management practices. If you think about the CISO and the CIO, during this pandemic have really been two, the key hiring managers, and in fact, many of the only hiring manager for strategic positions in companies. We've seen many of the go-to-market functions sort of shutting down or freezing. The CISO, for instance, has still been hiring at a rapid pace, and how they're doing it, and they're not actually meeting their candidates, and the candidates are not actually meeting them. They're not enjoying this cultural connection of walking into an office and feeling like they belong, and the same thing for the hiring managers. So they've really had to adjust to that. We've seen some really interesting techniques. The same thing goes on the actual management of teams, spending a lot more one-on-one time, spending a lot more time with the vendors, hearing presentations. So I think everything around these two areas have really intensified and changed in 2020, and for the most part, for the good. So
pretty exciting time, wouldn't you agree, Michael?
It is. I've said it before on your channels. I think it's a strange year for everyone, but for CIOs and CISOs, this is definitely a golden age. The notice, the level of communication, it's very exciting. It's sort of, and it's going to continue. I think we're going to see this trend move on.
I mean, it's the year of the CISO and the CIO being the rock star, right? Ben, you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen kind of, So I work heavily with our subsidiaries as well, and we kind of use our subsidiaries as sort of incubators for technologies and security plays and some of the more emerging tech. And but prior to coming on to Aflac corporate proper, I was the head of security for one of our subsidiaries here in Charlotte called Empowered. And they're a software as a service company and super agile, super fast, and have some very interesting technologies. And we were able to implement zero trust, beyond corp, whatever you want to call that, 3-4 years ago. And looking at what their response to the pandemic has been, it's basically just been business as usual. Like, the security controls haven't changed. We know what the users are, and the user experience hasn't changed. The only difference is that instead of them sitting in 3-person pods doing their stand-ups, right, they get on a WebEx call or a Blue Jeans meeting and go around there, right, or a RingCentral, right. It's been very interesting to see us be able to model off of some of those incubated companies for what we're looking to do for Aflac corporate proper, right? As we tear down the global barriers that we've got, and as people are able to work, kind of seamlessly across time zones and across the globe, we're able to take those models that we've had previously and kind of implement them across the company.
Thanks, Ben. What's your stature in the company in terms of, or your position about getting buy-in for everyone being part of the security solution, right? You can't possibly do it yourself. It's really building a team of warriors out there keeping the enterprise safe and secure. Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been shifting towards a DevSecOps model for years, and that's really been an enabler. We work very closely with digital services and the teams there, and even at that, the incubated company that we were talking about, Empowered, they don't have a traditional security team to speak of, right? It's all just kind of integrated pods, and everybody talks to everybody else, and it's not about, hey, security will get that handled. It's about security ownership across the organization. And I think people are kind of seeing that now as it's brought more to the forefront that, digital enablement just kind of requires security from the forefront.
Ben, I love winning, and more than winning myself, I love having clients and people in the network win, right? Really demonstrate amazing results and impact in the enterprise. And Lisa, when you think about you're building a culture of people that are on board, helping keep the enterprise safe and secure, and educating the C-suite and the board, what do you think about?
Well, part of it's learning to speak their language. We're so close to the tools, sometimes we forget, how to create that walk or that journey for them. So one of the things I've always believed is if you want somebody to be your partner, you have to create a win for them, because there's an inherent, probably internal reaction that, security, it's just going to be more that I have to do that I don't see value from. So where you can create those openings, whether it's a compliance regulation, a customer request, something that's driving a need to get you to the table, I think that's the beginning of that journey. The board wants to hear more now. Everybody's, like you said, it's kind of the golden age for the CISO right now. Everybody's got their ears up, and how you deliver that message, for better or for worse, is going to determine, I think, the effectiveness you have. You want to be that seat at the table. So, for compliance, there's been some IoT laws that California passed. So that was an opening in with our development teams to say, regulation's coming. They don't want to have to be the expert in that, and use that opportunity to learn about what they're doing, what their roadmap is, help promote a little bit. Did you know part of your shared service includes, we can do penetration testing, we can do vulnerability scanning, things that, again, they may have always considered us the back office corporate people, and now helping them understand we're really there, to be the front lines with you.
Interesting times, right?
Yes.
Do you get called into the C-suite much to explain what's going on?
I do have a regular quarterly cadence of meetings with them, as well as with the board of directors. So again, a large shift over, many years ago when I started in security, those opportunities weren't being asked from us.
Excellent. Good job, Lisa. Awesome. Hey, Michael, you have an annual survey that you're pretty fond of. What are the trends that you're seeing out there in terms of hiring?
Yeah, it's first of all, I wanted to just point out, Lisa, you're spot on for what we're seeing. I'm based in California, and we're always messing things up with compliance and governance standards. So you're welcome, the rest of the country. No, that was great. On the hiring part, we have our 2021 just getting organized. The big emphasis this year on our compensation, it's actually a reporting structure survey too. One thing we found 4 years ago was that CISOs weren't quite sure what they were supposed to be making because it was all over the map. And they weren't quite sure where they were supposed to be reporting because that was also all over the map. And it's only gotten more intensified and obscure in 2020. And I think we'll see that trend until it settles down a bit. But the main focus that we have for this year's study, which I'm happy to share with everyone, is around Ciso Protections. One of the big trends right now, I think probably the last 7 or 8 searches we've had some level of pre-negotiated severance, some level of double trigger, forward vesting in the change of an event on equity, RSUs or others or options. And then the other piece was ensuring that the CISO and or the CIO are placed on the D&O insurance. And these are requests from the community, and they're very serious about it. And I think the days of the CISO and CIO coming in and sign off on this FedRAMP or SOC 2 or ISO, and you may be the sacrificial lamb of the business are no longer. I think we've seen some really interesting high profile situations, and so that's really the emphasis on this hiring trend. I think in others, we're just mentioned it earlier, but we're seeing a rapid increase from the enterprise. Not so much. I mean, we see it on the startups which we work with, but on the enterprise, looking around to Ben's point, looking at putting more structure around what was maybe a kind of a grassroots DevSecOps environment, now becoming more of the enterprise way of going and finding that clear cloud leader, cloud security leader, someone that can look across architectures and really describe the business risk. So we're seeing that as a focused area as well. I think the other thing is on the hiring, kind of on the soft skills. The last piece I'll end with is there's three distinct requirements that we're seeing in interviews. One, how are CISOs and CIOs dealing with the new level of conflict as they move up the chain in the communication process to the board, to Lisa's point on the E-suite? What's that level of conflict? How do they narrate and almost be the referee of that conflict? And so it takes a lot of focus on that. The other one is just really knowing your audience. The audience has shifted quite a bit just over the last 18 months, specifically since the pandemic started, and knowing what level of audience you could walk into different meetings and have a variety of audiences. And the last one's just really understanding your level of humility, and that it's no longer about we are going to implement something and everyone's going to just adopt it. That really takes an enormous amount of awareness, security training, and other tools. And so the humanizing factor for the CISOs and the CIOs right now, we're seeing come up in new kinds of interviews, which is pretty fascinating. So,
hey, Michael, one quick question, hopefully a quick answer here. How important is it on the way in negotiating stock, equity, as well as a change of control agreement? Is it important?
I think it. Yeah, I would say that today it's almost critical because if you think of companies today, especially startups, you're basically being asked as an executive. Let's say you're coming from an enterprise into a kind of budding startup. You're being asked to leave money on the table, and where's the delta coming up from? It's usually coming in an investment in the company's equity over a 3 to 4 year period. And so really negotiating what that looks like and making sure that you really are seeing a fair negotiation, but also making sure you're protected in the change of control. CISOs and CIOs are sometimes the first to go in a replicated environment. And so making sure that what you started building a couple of years ago, that you at least have the opportunity to make your own choice of exit as opposed to being absorbed somewhere else. I think there's just so much. I didn't want to
accentuate any fear there. I just wanted to punctuate that. I think that's an important idea in one's career ascent, to have that ask in the mix, right?
Yeah, I mean, CISOs and CIOs are builders, they're problem solvers, they're also very good people, and they want to do the right thing for the organization. They're really there to help to really solve the most complex problems, and so they want to be in an environment where they're going to do that. Once they get into a maintenance mode, or something that's more neutral, they want to look out for the next opportunity that gives them that. So it's pretty natural behavior.
Hey, Michael, thanks for coming to the program.
Yeah.
Ben, final comment around the changing environment and strategically things that folks should have on their radar?
You know, but I think we've pretty much covered it, right? Like look at Zero Trust if you haven't. Look at your cloud programs and make sure that security is involved in that, and look at your people and make sure that your workforce is happy and that they're working and that they're doing so securely.
Exciting time to be in tech, Ben.
Very exciting time. Yes.
Very cool. Excellent. Lisa, exciting time to be in tech.
Yes, more exciting than ever. 20 years ago, wouldn't have imagined where we would be today. So the career has definitely changed.
Awesome. Hey, Lisa, great to have you on the program. Thanks, Ben. Michael, always good to see you. Hey, stay tuned to this next segment. I think you'll like it.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks guys.
Hunter. Take care.
So next up, the HMG Tech Innovation Lab, Innovation versus Invention. Let's bring on Becky. Becky Fox, Atrium Health. Becky, great to see you.
Good to see you, Hunter.
So let's talk about what you're doing there at Atrium or other endeavors or adventures that are in this changing environment that really is interesting and innovative. What do you got?
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. I'm sure everyone's been a little bit consumed with COVID, but in healthcare, we're definitely consumed by COVID, and it's been what we've been living and breathing. So normally in my day job, I'm the Chief Nursing Informatics Officer, setting the strategy and vision of how we use technology in the hands of our clinicians. So during the pandemic, we've had to get really creative and rely on our innovation skills to stand up virtual hospitals, really rely on putting all of our teammates remotely in, while at the same time taking great care of our patients. But in my free time, which, somehow we found some free time, had an idea. I joined a hackathon and just within a few months started a company called Vital Circle, and we developed a a symptom tracker and a contact tracing app. And that technology, we brought it to market. We were the first ones to really combine these two technologies together. And we brought it to the Republican National Convention just a little bit ago in August. It was really exciting to keep every one of the attendees safe, as well as all of the community of Charlotte. So it's been a really exciting time in the innovation space.
Very, very cool. What's next with that adventure?
Well, we're really focused on businesses, schools, events, and just how do you get everyone back to real life and any kind of normalcy. So we've got a lot of connections, and we're doing a lot of great work with some events, both in the United States and around a couple locations in the Caribbean. We're also working on some details with some businesses to really make an impact on manufacturing, so they keep their doors open and keep operating, looking at the food industry, and then of course schools, civic groups, churches, all being able to get people back together in a safe way.
Awesome. Great stuff. I want to learn more about that. Thanks, Becky.
Sure.
Stay with us. Hey, next up we have Monti Knode. Monti from Horizon 3. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Hunter.
Good to see you. Hey, a little bit about your background and thanks for your service.
You bet. Thank you very much. So former Air Force officer, just retired after 26 years. And now I'm getting into the fast, innovative world of startup life. As an airman, I got to be on offensive and defensive cyberspace operations. And so trying to bring a few of the things we learned and learn a little bit more from the innovative side here at Horizon 3.
And what are you guys up to? What's the problem in the enterprise that Horizon 3 is focused in on?
So it's interesting getting to hear Becky talk about some of the things they're focused on that have big, major impacts. What we're trying to do is along that same line, but in a different perspective. We're bringing in an attacker's perspective to all the different things that are out there. So much like Becky just identified with some of their app, we had somebody who developed a app that will help somebody who's got PTSD to be able to awake from a nightmare that might be going on. And some of the things we're doing where we exist at the middle of vulnerability assessment, pen tests, and BAS, which is really popular right now. We combine a few of those things to really turn that map around and help people fix what matters a little quickly. They were able to, that company I just talked about, they were able to turn that around and get their FDA paperwork and submission in on time and very quickly. Very appreciative. And those are some of the worthy causes we're trying to support, while also help people be a lot faster in their security matters.
But Horizon 3 essentially is a security company in the enterprise space.
It is, very much so.
Excellent. Oh, stay with us. I'll circle back to you in just a minute. So Geetha, Krishnan, welcome to the program, sir.
Hi, Matt. Thank you.
Part
of the great panel.
Tell us a little bit about what you're solving in the enterprise.
Yeah. First of all, I'll give a little bit of background about who I'm with. MapRecruit.ai. MapRecruit.ai has an end-to-end talent acquisition platform. We use various forms of artificial intelligence for sourcing, matching, engaging, screening, interview scheduling, and even conducting interviews all the way down to qualifying. The solutions usually generate 10x efficiencies with 10 to 20% or 20 to 30% reduction in cost for talent acquisition. We approach it in a very simple way, making it easy for the candidates to apply and engage, and also increase recruitment efficiency. At the same time, get the talent acquisition leader to realize the cost savings.
And what's a happy client look like to you?
A happy client where they generate more traffic and recruit faster and have satisfying candidate journey. That would be the happy client while decreasing the cost.
Industry agnostic? What size of company?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hunter, actually. So it is industry agnostic. We approach enterprise clients of any size. We also approach staffing organizations that usually have a lot of recruitment in terms of scale, RPOs, BPOs. We also support technology companies that provide solutions in the front like HCM, where we have our AI-based engines like parsers, conversational chatbots that we have that can power the existing solutions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Geetha. Stay with us. Hey, Brian Platts is with Flurry. Brian, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Hunter. It's great to be here.
Great to see you. Hey, I love the name Flurry. What's the background? Why Flurry?
Well, we deal with data management, and the most atomic unit of data we call a flake, only because the way we store it, it'll always be unique. It'll never be duplicated anywhere. So I guess we just took some liberties with having the idea of a snowflake be a piece of data, and there emerged Flurry.
So you're the CEO, I'm assuming probably were early on, or if not a co-founder. Talk to us about the problem in the enterprise that you all are addressing. And one of your biggest clients is the United States government, DoD, right?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'm a co-founder, and the other co-founder and co-CEO, Flip Filipowski. We have been building enterprise software companies our whole careers. And we have personally dealt with the challenge of acquiring companies, trying to integrate technologies over a long period of time. So Flurry is all about data. It's a big passion for us. We struggled with it personally, but we've also seen an opportunity with what's emerging out there to create a platform that can support trusted data ecosystems. So Flurry is all about addressing some of these more modern challenges we have with data. Can we trust data? Where did it come from? What's the provenance? How do we get better insights and analytics out of it? How do we better accomplish artificial intelligence? So these are all sort of new emerging issues that are coming up, and we're a platform to help address those.
And what makes you guys unique? I gotta believe there's other players out there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's, the data management ecosystem is a massive one. It's a huge market. And there's niches within there to do all kinds of things. Flurry is a little bit more focused on being able to connect and make data interoperable and be able to share that data in a more seamless way with customers, suppliers, partners. Specifically, we sit on top of the World Wide Web Consortium, the W3C semantic graph standards. And we also leverage blockchain technology at the core, at the back end of how we're storing and managing data, which brings a lot of the integrity characteristics that we do. So we just have a more holistic view around securing data and leveraging data than most other platforms.
Very cool stuff. I'm really excited that we met, and I'm really interested in learning more about you all. Thanks again, Brian, for coming on the program here. Hey, Tom, welcome to the program. Tom's the executive director of NC Riot, right?
That's right. Thanks for having me on here.
Hey, talk to us about your adventure. What are you doing uniquely different, and what's the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, we're maybe a little bit different voice on the panel. So Riot's a nonprofit organization. We operate nationally, but headquarters out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and we're focused on IoT sector growth and how to take advantage of the data economy. Where I get to spend most of my time, which I'm excited about, is that we run startup accelerators around the country, and we're expanding into some new states next year, working with both entrepreneurs and startups doing really new things with emerging technologies, but then also connecting them to corporate technology platforms, and often working with corporate innovation teams that are trying to build out new lines of revenue and new lines of business. So we get to see this interesting intersection of emerging technology and what can you do to solve big problems with it.
How long have you guys been at it?
We started Riot in 2014. I think that was the year before that IoT was dubbed the fourth industrial revolution by the World Economic Forum, and have just really grown from there. We work with corporate partners from all over the world and get to work on some really interesting stuff. But at the end of the day, we measure job creation as kind of our output.
That's very cool, Tom. We'll circle back to here in just a minute. And Becky, back over to you. You know, you have a really interesting project that you're on. I was thinking there might even be an application for us here at HMG once we go back to hybrid or full in-person events here in the next year, hopefully in 2021. I have a passion for helping entrepreneurs. What would be the message that you'd want to get out today to this group, and then more broadly to the HMG network, regarding your mission, where you are today, and where you want to take this? How can we all help?
Yeah, we're really looking to partner with folks who, just like you said, want to bring folks together and yet have a safe event. So I do think that there's some concerns anytime you're looking at this technology. Are you stalking me on your phone, on my phone? You know, there's concerns with Bluetooth technology. And I think that's the thing that Vital Circle brings to the table, is a different way. It's a contact tracer, it's a wearable, but you combine it with symptom tracking so that way you're not waiting for test results to warn you that you have a risk in your group that you get together. You're really looking at those symptoms. And then, of course, we have health protocols to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So even when we look at the RNC event, when we brought, you know, a couple hundred people together and used our technology, you know, one of the things as a nurse, we had to make sure that it was going to work and it was going to be fail-safe. And that's what we were able to do. So when there was a potential risk, a potential exposure, within minutes, we were able to use our data, identify any areas of concern, and help the team put an action plan in motion. And that was the important thing, is that how do you continue your event, make sure that you're protecting civil liberties and privacy, but yet at the same time, really identifying your risks. So it's a great benefit for everybody. Everyone feels safe coming to the event. Everyone feels safe in the community. And then, of course, you're protecting your civil liberties. So it's a great tool, and we're here to help, again, businesses, schools, events, people get together in a safe way. And, you know, the RNC is one way that, and one example that we're able to, you know, somewhat talk about how we were able to do that.
Yes, scale matters, right? Have you thought about how you're going to scale it up?
Yeah, so we're pretty excited. There's, you know, the technology is ready to scale, whether you want to do an event over 1 day or 5 days, or if you want to use this on your business on an ongoing basis. The scalability of it is pretty limitless. You know, it's really easy to scale up. I do want to hit Tom up afterwards, though, because I think there's probably some opportunities. We might have to do a meetup here in North Carolina, you know, to talk a little bit about how that we can continue to partner, because there are some opportunities in the public sector in particular. You know, schools are not going to be able to afford this technology, but we all know if there's pockets of super spreaders, if we can help bring some technology and benefit to them, then the whole community benefits. I mean, that was the whole driver of Vital Circle, is how do we use data to get back to life? How do we get our economy restarted? How do we get our businesses reopened? So whether you're in a service industry, an industrial industry, the food industry, the school education industry, there's all of these different aspects that this very simple technology can really bring value. And then, of course, I think there's value in having a nurse. No one knows workflow better than a nurse, or nurses definitely know when it doesn't work well, and especially being a chief nursing informatics officer. And you guys all know this too, whatever sector you might be working in, if you don't have the right tech designed in the right way, It doesn't matter. You can throw it in a box. So it was really important for the Republican National Convention, as well as all of our clients, to make sure that, you know, it's not just one workflow. We have designed out all of these different workflows, because it's different in a school than it is in a distribution center. And it's different when you go to a church function. So these are all very different, but we understand that. We've got a great group of leaders, and would love to talk with Tom and anybody else who's interested, because we think there's some opportunity and some value. If, you know, even though this is good, there's nothing like seeing Hunter in person.
There you go, Becky. Thank you. What do you need? Real quickly, ideally, what do you need right now to accelerate your business plan?
I think we're looking for some venture cap to do some investment in it. I think we're also looking for a couple other segments that maybe if folks want to do an early adopter or a pilot with us, just again, to work through the finer kinks of workflows. So we'd really like to have people reach out to us. It's vitalcircle.health is our website, and really connect and, you know, and see how we can partner through some couple of pilot sites and start with our investment discussions.
Sounds like there's a big runway for you. Good luck with it. Thanks,
you.
Becky, for coming on. Hey, Geetha, when you think of innovation or invention relative to recruitment, is it innovation or invention?
I would say it is both. So in our world, we have taken the inventions of AI to innovate and create a powerful, comprehensive product. The problem we're solving is really friction in recruiting. Recruiting has existed as far as we as humans have been in this world, right? Now, while the technologies has evolved and whatnot, there's still that friction in recruiting as continues to exist. So candidates are continuing to get frustrated with the job apply process, with all the digital transformations still coming out. And also on the other hand, recruiters are being overwhelmed. So how do we look at it, both sides of the equation, right? I'll give you one example, Hunter. Our Engage AI platform, a recruiter can easily, with a click of a button, reach out to hundreds, if not thousands of candidates to either screen automatically or schedule for interview. On the other side, the candidates can engage with the recruiter with any channel of choice. It's email or text or chatbot or audio or video from anywhere at any time of their convenience. That's how we reduce the friction.
Awesome. What do you need, Geetha, right now?
Well, we are a startup. Our product is actually, we're now releasing a second version. We are in 16 countries with close to 100 customers, but we need to expand in the North America as well as the European market. And we see a huge opportunity for us to provide our solutions that has much higher accuracy in the marketplace in terms of parsing, sourcing, and matching from our own tests.
Awesome. Good luck with that, Geetha.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We have a question from Geetha. How many of you use AI and AI-based solutions to solve recruitment problems? If you can vote quickly and submit, we'll have the data there in just a minute. Hey, Monti, circling back to you.
You bet.
I know your company pretty well. You guys are really kind of cool. It's automating red teaming, right?
Yes, sir. We've gone from 9 months to market and just had our launch.
And you got an amazing pipeline, right?
We do, actually. We've got an amazing pipeline of both people and product. We're very focused on taking what an attacker does and generating that into automation. So what that's enabled companies to do is instead of having to schedule out a pen test or having to install agents all over the place, we can get them spun up very quickly, like within a half hour from the moment that they're logging in. And right now we got our self-service login so people can go out, and it's National Cybersecurity Month. And so we've got a free trial going on for everybody right now where they can go in, log in, and even pen test their own house. Your printer might run a little crazy a little bit, but that's a part of getting to go out there, and people can even do it on their companies. And that's what we've got going right now. It's fully automated, benign, and pretty cool technology we're employing right now.
So it's a free trial. That's amazing.
That is, it's free trial. As everybody knows, these pen tests, especially with financial companies, can get pretty expensive. They're a quarterly requirement. And what we're trying to do is drive people towards continuous assessment so that they can do it on their schedule, drive their security stand-up meetings, and instead of having risk kind of peak and go up and down and up and down, really level it out by understanding what's going on in your environment on a regular basis.
Hey, Monty, it's great to have you on the program again. Thanks for your service. People don't know you were with DOD and with JSOC, which is an insane group. And we're lucky to have you as part of the HMG platform. You will be in the marketplace, I think, within the next week or so.
Yes, sir. We're pushing that.
Awesome. Hey, Brian, over to you. How do people get started with you?
Yeah, so we are a data platform, so we can apply into a lot of verticals, but there's a few sort of grounding things that are coming and being present. Certainly around organizing master data, sharing data within the four walls. A big part of our focus is sharing data externally with communities and partners, but a lot of organizations struggle with that just internally. Our technology is completely open source. It's free. We have, a registered partner network of 42 partners now across the globe that know and implement our technology. So it's really easy to get started, learn about some of the capabilities, and see where that takes you, and reach out to us if we can certainly be of help in that.
How can people reach out to you? LinkedIn, email, the website?
Yeah, our website's the best place, but we are on all the social media channels as well. So our website is flurry, FLUR.EE. So pretty short and simple.
Hey folks, these guys are local in North Carolina, and they're it's a top pick. I think you guys are going to go someplace. I want to set up a follow-up call with you, Brian, and invite you also to my CEO club.
Well, thanks, Hunter. Love to be there.
Hey, Tom, final thoughts on how we can help you?
Yeah, first, thanks for having us on, and to all the panelists for what you've shared. And Becky, I'll certainly reach out. I think we can help your new venture. But at the end of the day, we're here to help people break out of that mentality of using new technologies, new advances to do what you were always doing, but just do it better. That is in some way being a day two company. That's a race to the bottom on efficiency versus how do you create new value, and would love to engage with anyone who wants to think about how can I do something in a new way and create new value, new high margin opportunities for my customers, whether you're an entrepreneur within your company or an entrepreneur thinking about starting something new. We're around. You can find us at riot.org, or you can email me directly at tom@riot.org, and we'd love to try and support.
Hey guys, awesome panel here, guys. I want to thank, we have a little pop-up question here. Have you leveraged a startup accelerator or external corporate accelerator program to drive innovation in your business? If you could fill that out and submit, that'd be great. Again, thank you, Becky. Thanks, Geetha, Monty, Tom, and Brian. This was a great panel, our best yet. And I think you guys, we're on the road every week. You should consider looking at other markets if you have an interest in getting out there in other markets. And just had another idea, maybe having a global innovation accelerator and bring in people from all over the world and kind of have a big digital accelerator. So hopefully you'll all be in.
Love it.
Great idea.
Great. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much, Hunter.
Good to see you all. Next up, we have our good friend, Shoukat Bhamani. Bhamani. Close?
Hello. Perfect. Thank you.
Shoukat is our #1 facilitator in the HMG platform network. He's a champion. He's a superstar. Shoukat, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hunter. Appreciate it again. Good time. I think we are waiting also for Patrick to join us. If Patrick is perfect. Okay. So again, a good discussion. A lot of good insight throughout the discussion. I think from what we understand now, the business and IT is all going through a lot of change. We heard a lot about pandemic. We had a lot of discussions in several CIO sessions, how this change has impacted us and then what CIOs have done. What we're going to do today is take a slightly different spin to it. What we're going to focus on, what has now changed permanently for us? And we are going to focus on that and seeing how we are managing that. So before we start our panel discussion, I would like to request all of my wonderful panelists here to have a very short introduction about your name, your name of the company, your role within the organization, and what industry do you belong to. Swami, can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you, Shoukat, and thank you, Hunter and HMG, for giving the opportunity. It is always wonderful to be here. So my name is Chakradhar Swami Sri Peramadur, but I go short by Swami, as you know why. So
I thought I had the competition, but thank you, Swami.
Sure. So you know, it's interesting times. So even though I am a CIO at Informatica, but we are playing multiple roles of Chief Digital Officer, Chief Strategy Officer, and Chief Business Officer. So Informatica is a full-blown IT solutions company providing innovative solutions to complex business problems using the cutting-edge technology. And we are completely spread across North America, Europe, and Asia, and also serving multiple customers in terms of healthcare, utility, public, state, federal, and many more. So it's interesting times, and we are very excited to be in these times in a positive way because it is really kicking the innovation.
Good, thank you. Doug?
So hi everybody, I'm Douglas Krieger. I'm with Herbalife Nutrition. So I'm based out of Winston-Salem, so neighbor to Charlotte. We are headquartered out of Los Angeles, California. I run the global sourcing piece for Herbalife. So under me, I handle a lot of the technology or all the technology purchases, as well as a number of the other indirect spends, logistics being one of the other biggest ones, travel, marketing. And so really partnering with the technology team, looking to bring a different twist on how we do things and partner in a way that probably most of your sourcing teams don't do. And really excited for this panel and such a great group of people. And thanks, Hunter and the team, for inviting me to it.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Patrick?
Thanks. Let me get my video on. I'm sorry. Struggling a little bit with
I know we are all getting that
from one call to the next, so I apologize. No, Patrick Thompson, Albemarle CIO. We are a specialty chemical company. We make the chemicals that make lithium batteries for EV cars, cell phones, things of that nature. We also have a catalyst division that helps with oil and gas. So we kind of have the new black oil and the old black oil role. And then we have bromine, which is a fire retardant chemical that comes from brine in the ground from the Dead Sea and a mine in Little Rock, Arkansas, of all places. So we're a special chemical company, 3 billion, 46 locations. We serve 100 countries around the world. And I'm the CIO on a digital journey right now.
Good, and just a short introduction from my side. I'm Shoukat Ali Bhamani, as easy as Swami's name, okay? And so I'm responsible for the Schaeffler Group as a CIO and CDO, responsible for IT and digitalization. We are a automotive and industrial products manufacturer, worldwide operation. In the region Americas, we have about $3.5–4 billion business with about 13,000 employees that we are supporting, right out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, as our regional headquarters here. So with that, I think we go look at our situation right now. I think we all have gone through a special situation over the last 6 months, you know, and this pandemic has changed a few things for us permanently. What we are going to focus on today, and maybe I'm going to ask my wonderful panelists here, if you could help me to identify what has changed permanently for your business, and then we will further dig deep into that situation. So Doug, if you don't mind, I would like to start with you. What has changed for your business permanently?
Sure. So I think it's a great question and a great topic, obviously very timely. So for Herbalife, being a multi-level marketing company in 96 countries and very touch sensitive in terms of being able to have that touch point of our distributors with their customers and us with them, a lot's changed. If I look at it from the very beginning, we're very big on having events, people coming live and getting a feel for the environment and really being excited about it. All that's gone away. We've had to move very quickly to a virtual environment. And we've had some virtual events that we've had upwards of 100,000 people attend globally. So huge events. A lot of work that goes into trying to figuring out the platform, the arrangements, the things you learn, like having the right type of lighting really makes a big difference. We're very fortunate to have distributors and independent distributors, because each one of them is kind of like their own entrepreneur, their own CEO, if you will. And so they all figure out how to make their business work on their own, and then they share ideas, which has helped to make us really thrive during this pandemic and hopefully going forward. But I think the thing that's changed from us from an internal standpoint is really how we identify talent, how we keep talent, and how we make sure that we're staying relevant in terms of where talent wants to go. And you know, one of the things that I look at for myself, like I mentioned, I'm out of Winston-Salem, but I support a team that's in Winston-Salem, that's in LA, and we support the globe. So I'm not with half of my team. My boss is the other side of the country. So whether we're in a pandemic or we were before, I was kind of remote, even though I was in the office. And so what it's really done, though, is it's really brought forward the whole idea of where's the talent? Do we need to bring the talent to us, or could we find the best talent that's out there and search in that type of capacity? And I think we've taken on that approach, still a hybrid approach, still trying to figure out what we're going to do to make it work going forward. But I think to me, that's the biggest thing that's going to be the change that's going to last for a long time, if not forever, is as opposed to trying to find the people that are just local that have the best talent, we now get to go out and search and find that best talent to make our companies even stronger.
So Doug, are you referring to specifically technical or IT talent, or in general?
So I'm talking about it in general, talking about for me specifically when I'm looking at sourcing, you know, I'm looking for talent on my team in marketing, but I'm also looking for it on the technical side as well. You know, we've brought people in that have moved. We've brought people in that have wanted to stay remote, and now we're open to all of it. We've had people that live in California, and obviously for California, it's a big thing, that have said, you know what, I'd like to move from California. And the company on an individual basis is looking to accommodate them where possible. So a lot of things in motion that I think are opening up the eyes to everybody within the C-suite to really try to figure out what is the right path going forward, and how do we do that while still keeping the culture of the company, which is a very collaborative culture, built on being able to walk into somebody's office and say hi and have that conversation and talk about something important, and how do you still do that?
Okay. What about you, Patrick? What has changed for your business now permanently?
Well, I guess the good news is the biggest change has been just working from home, right? And I think that's the obvious. And as a result of working from home and having some success, like all of us have had some success, showing that you can roll out technology fast, you can adopt it fast, you can accelerate, you know, much quicker than the normal way we used to think about it, that we had to be very careful, we had to do change management, we have to study this, we have to analyze it, and be slow, for just blunt words. That's culture has changed. They see now that our workforce, we went from 500 to 5,000 people working from home overnight, literally over a weekend, the 15th through the 18th. And they see that we can adopt digital technology to do a lot more, a lot faster in our company. And as a result of that, we're seeing capital being pulled forward to digitize our customer excellence, our manufacturing excellence, our back office excellence, whereas some of those things were going to be annual budget type items that get cut and reduced. We're seeing, let's pull that forward, because the new norm is we're going to have a hybrid situation for a while, probably into 21. Corporate travel is going to be down. We need to be able to innovate and collaborate with our clients and with. So the change is culturally we've changed, and you know, just tugging on Doug's point, we don't really care where you have to work now, whereas before we'd be like, you have to come here, you have to be in this building. That's culturally changed, and then the flex schedule has changed. People working from home and working in the office, I think that's going to be the new hybrid model going forward. So those are the kind of three areas that we're seeing, but we're seeing much more interest in letting us digitize the company much faster and rapidly than we have in the past.
Okay, that's very interesting, Patrick, because from my perspective in my organization, I think that's also the number one change I have noticed, is there's more acceptability to having a digital workplace and digital environment. A lot of tools that we had offered in the past, we have a lot more requests for upgrading them, for having training, having installations. So again, that's a very positive change. Swami, what about you? What has been the biggest change for your business, permanent change?
So I think it's as everybody said, it is very interesting times, and there are multiple things have changed permanently. One, the biggest thing is the perception. The perception of the customer has changed, because previously customer says, you know, you have to be in-house, you have to be in secure area, you have to be in this location. But now when this pandemic has hit, people say, I don't care where you are, please deliver. Now the whole perception is like 360 degrees, you know, completely changed. And I used to do, because of this continent, I used to do almost every 3 months to different continents, and then meeting with the customers and employees, but it is always challenging to spend time with the family. So with this work from home, we are doing a very good work-life balance. We are able to spend quality time with family. At the same time, because I'm on road, I'm also not able to spend more time with the employees because it was only a short time. But now people are adaptive, that they are suitable to come up to video call anytime. It's not really a problem. The mundane 8 to 5 timings are gone. Of course, it is sometimes pro and sometimes con, because depending upon how you really look at it, there is always a productivity increase, but there is also stress levels increased. It all depends on how do you really manage it. But in this case, I'm able to spend more time with my employees. I'm doing more than the required, you know, the leadership, not only the direct leadership, but also the town hall meetings are going on more regularly. Previously, I used to do only once in a quarter. And the sales and marketing side, if you see, the whole perception is different. Previously, we used to do a lot of travel, and we need to identify when the customer is available. Then we have to go there. We have to spend more time. But now, the time to spend with the customer is less because it is virtual, but at the same time, the number of times you're doing more. So instead of meeting once in a month, I'm meeting 3 times in a month with the customer, and I'm meeting only half an hour, and then I'm able to judge. And this also is providing some kind of a virtual happy hours. So we are able to, you know, completely interact with a more specified way. And also, because of this virtual, I'm also able to bring multiple people at the same time, irrespective of their location. So we are making more effective, because previously, if I want to travel to a customer and if it is a demo or a production rollout, then I have to say that, okay, I have to have my chief architect, I have my solution architect, there are 10 people, there is a lot of spend from the customer or the budget wise. All things are a little different now. People can really do. So there are many things have transformed because of this. I think innovation and giving agility and flexibility from the perspective from customer and employee perspective is really changed.
So Swami, a lot of good things you mentioned about how our work habits, our work approaches have changed. What about from your business point of view, from your products, from your services, anything significantly changing?
Oh yeah, we have changed significantly in terms of how we are giving solution, because we being an IT services company, we are working with multiple customers. So we are giving a lot of education to some of the retailers. So I don't want to name some of the customer, but some of the customer we have told, you know, this e-commerce is really coming. You have to be on top of it. They always were trying to say that, okay, we will look into it. It is not in our budget. It is not in our strategy. But because of this pandemic, those companies no longer exist now, because they couldn't really, you know, it is going in a reactive mode than a proactive mode. And because of these changes, people are not doing. So one of the important factor from our services point of view is digitization. So we are giving more and more importance to self-portal, right? You know, for example, now some of the insurance companies, if I have a car problem, previously I have to ask that objector to come, and then he has to really look at the car, or even for the home insurance, they really need to look at your physically and make sure everything is a problem. Then you have to go to the dealer, then get a quote. So it is like taking almost like 3 to 4 week project. And then also you are really having a difficulty, right? You know, your comfort level is not there because your car is already broken or your house is already broken. But now with the insurance, you have the mobile apps. Now the digital transformation is really kicking in, because it used to be people are thinking it was not really a necessity, but now business is driving them that it is the necessity. Now users are really able to make all the changes right where they are in a comfort level, and the turnaround time has increased. They're also able to send more and videos and also showing the pictures rather than just talking. So I think the way how you do the business, the offerings are completely different.
So let me see if it's possible to just do a quick survey with our participants. Is it possible to pull up a survey at this time? Perfect. So if you could help to answer these two questions, please.
It's interesting questions though, Shoukat.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know if it's possible also to pull up the responses now, or should we give 30 more seconds or so?
Are we AI enabled?
I don't know, yeah. Yeah. So this will be interesting for us to look into. Yeah, so interesting, okay. So now we look at what IT work has changed permanently, okay. So again, we are looking from the CIO or IT perspective. So significant, I think it's a little interesting for me to see about 70-75% people have more than 20% changed. That's very interesting. On the budget side, it's a very balanced. I think most of the people will have the same budget next year because of the plus and minuses of the economy. But then we also have CIOs, they will have less versus we will have some CIOs more budget. Perfect. Thank you so much. That's such a good insight to see. So now you mentioned a couple of good things, all of you, in terms of what has changed permanently. So as a CIO, either you are a CIO or you are closely working with the CIO. As a CIO, to overcome some of these permanent changes, what your CIOs are doing as a CIO? What are you doing specifically? For example, I think Swami mentioned some of his customer approaches. The customer solutions have changed. They become more digital and e-commerce based nature. I think Doug mentioned about the whole virtual event has taken place now as compared to the physical events that they had. Or Patrick mentioned, I think, few of these things about the adoption is very fast now, more demand for the digitalization and the culture of excellence. So from those perspectives, what CIOs are doing different now because those things have become permanent? Again, Patrick, if I could start with you, please.
Sure. Let me think through that question. But I mean, I think the thing that resonates with me right now is because of COVID and because of the success all of us have had with allowing our people to be productive from home, and we've gotten a pretty high score on that. We're just getting more opportunities to show what we can do for the business, and it just seems like you got a greater seat at the table at this moment than we ever had.
So, Patrick, do you mind to share some examples? What are you offering more now?
Yeah, so we were on a ABC journey, IT transformation, business transformation, digital transformation. And what we're seeing is the appetite to move into the digital transformation quicker. So we are trying to put solutions in place to not only internally get better at communicating and connecting with our internal resources, but how do we connect with our customers from an external perspective. And that's been like customer portals and self-service ordering, almost like the Amazon-like experience with the customer, putting solutions like that in place, manufacturing excellence from a digital perspective, back office, business process mining, robotic process automation, now all of these technologies that had these 3-letter words or acronyms they're interested in because they're anticipating a new business horizon in front of us. And they're basically saying, we do need to do all these digital things just in case something else comes along, COVID-2, COVID-21, COVID-22, whatever it might be. We have to get these tools in place. These are foundational now. They're not cutting edge, bleeding edge. This is just foundational that we get this stuff in place so that we can pivot quickly, we can move faster with our customers and manufacturing. And so I'm just excited to see that kind of change happening in my organization.
Okay, good. Swami, could you share some of the specifics, what you are doing as a CIO to support those permanent changes for your business?
See, I think the good question again, these things, what we are focusing right now is a couple of things we are focusing. One is we are purely making sure the BCP plan is completely tied out, because previously when we go to the board, they say, why really you need the money for the BCP? Everything is working. So why the DR strategy? Why you need to spend more money? But now they are coming the other way around. Why are you, take some money, please go and put it in the BCP or the DR. So the way the things are working is completely different, because now in this COVID has really shaked up almost no one has experienced, because this is almost reoccurring after 100 years. I don't think very small percentage of people are exist with more than 100 years. So the BCP outcome with the board is completely different. And another thing is now, I would say now the CIO title is transformed to CBIO, Chief Business and Innovation Officer, because every time now, more than before, the outcome matters. So all the activities, what we are doing, how directly it is impacting the business, whether are we getting a new customers, are the profits are saved, are more profits or operational savings. So it is revenue versus operational savings are more clear. So people want to really see in the outcome. So between these two, we are really changing all our practices, and also with going with the more agile in every practice.
So could you give us one or two examples? What are you doing to help that situation now?
See, one of the situation, what we are trying to do is that we have adopted a lot of the more tools. So now I have internally and externally a lot of the conversational RPA. And what I would call is, instead of calling RPA, robotic process automation, we are implementing what is called IPA, intelligent process automation. So what does it mean is, I am Swami plus digital Swami. So each person has to have a bot, because the bot has to do the mundane work, which is very repetitive, which you feel boring. Yeah. That is the work which bot has to do of your own. Yeah. But then as a Swami, I have to use my intellectual property and then see something which I really can use as a human, what I can bring. So these are the couple of things we are quickly implementing, and also making, we are witnessing the results are much better.
Okay, good. Doug, could you share a couple of examples? I think you mentioned this virtual events. I assume that keeps your CIO busy now to make sure the infrastructure is ready now. Huh?
It's a big thing. I think what Patrick and Swami said resonate very well, right? In a spirit of transparency, it's about bringing collaborative tools to the mix, and that's a big focus. And I think what was said about the BCDR, right, as we call it, business continuity disaster recovery, that's a big focus as well. Gearing up for this, gearing up for when the next issue occurs, that we can continue to meet the needs of our customers. And to talk about the virtual events, it's a very interesting thing to focus on, to drive events that occur in every region across the world at different times, different languages, some of them having over 13 or 14 different language translations going on simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that go on with it that really help to drive the organization without missing a beat, right? And I think that's the key thing, is still delivering to the customer and the end user as similar an experience as they would have had pre-COVID, so that from their perspective, they can continue to have trust in the organization and continue to thrive.
Okay. So it's very interesting. Whenever we talk about this changing new world the CIOs are going through, it feels very rosy world now, that we have unlimited resources and talent and budget, and we are just moving forward with all the changes. But I know the life is not that rosy. So the question, the next is that now going through this change, what is one of your biggest obstacle, and how are you managing it? Okay. Anybody would like to start with that? What's your biggest obstacle?
Sure, I'll take that one. I think that, as we use technology, and we're all, big fans of what's out there and what we're using to run our companies now, it's the human element that eventually is missing, and it's gonna continue to be missing for a while, probably until we get back to a hybrid mode, or eventually getting back in the office. And I think it's trying to find the right technology that humanizes what we've missed by the cubicle hugging, the hallway talk, the water cooler talk, the post meetings after the conference meeting face to face, that that face-to-face innovation, collaboration that, you know, doesn't come through a call, doesn't come through a video. And we're trying to use things like, we're really taking advantage of the whole Teams platform, where we're using Yammer now, and we're kind of spinning that as an innovation hub. So we're having team channels around the world of like businesses or like processes get together in Delhi and Budapest, Kings Mountain, and share the best practices of how to make us better from a business process improvement perspective. And we're kind of using Yammer to be the replacement for the water cooler or the hallway or cubicle, by saying, just get on there and start chatting, start talking about it. Let the information start flow, no matter what time zone it's in, 24/7. Here's a thread to, you know, build off an idea, and keep that innovation aspect of the human element of face-to-face, you know, somewhat moving. I don't know of another solution. I'm very interested in hearing from the panel or other people participating, but how are we replacing that human aspect of innovation and collaboration? And these tools can only go so far. So that's just one technique we're trying to use.
Okay, Doug, what's your biggest challenge?
So I'll give you
for your
really
CIO?
quick.
Yeah.
I'll give you two really quick. So our CIO just talked about this yesterday and said, somehow we've got to figure out how to make this type of mode a 3D type of mode. So that there's something more than just looking at a screen all day long. But I think, to me, it leads to what I see as a huge challenge as well, which is the burnout factor. You know, Patrick talked about the follow the sun kind of methodology, and we have the same thing. And I think part of that challenge is we're always working. We're always on. Everybody that I talk to talks about how, you know, working from home, they're working more now than they probably ever were before, and there's very little downtime. And so now we're home, we're with our families. As Shoukat said, as Swami said, we have that ability to see them, yet we don't see them, right? My wife said to me the other day, you know, you're working from home and you're still eating lunch at your desk. So I think we've got to figure out that balance. And I think, you know, if somebody has that trick, I would definitely love to hear it, because that's my struggle. And I think it's a struggle for a lot of people.
Maybe Swami has that, but let's, Swami, what's your biggest challenge?
So just to talk to Patrick on this water cooler and the informal discussions which we are missing. So what we have adopted, which is at least something better than not, is, of course, we are doing a virtual happy hour, but more than that, we are coming up with some kind of a team building activities, not necessarily putting everybody onto one Zoom meeting, but also taking one option, saying that, okay, we have a marathon session, whoever is a good marathon session, 5K run, you do on your individual paces, but then again, come back, no more discussion on the official topics, talk about only those things. So we are trying to come up with some virtual team building activities, not necessarily glued to the screen time. I think that is really bringing some kind of emotions of the people, and also the hidden talents. Because of these people, a lot of people are staying at home, they are coming up with their hidden talents. So I think that is really working out. Going back to the obstacles, sorry.
So let's go quickly, because we need to wrap this up quickly.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. Swami, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I think the obstacles are, again, this perception we have to work out. We really want to do many things, even in the COVID, but again, budget is one of the biggest constraints. We always say, if the board is giving something, they immediately need some ROI. We don't have, take some 10 million now and then show them the results after 2 years. They don't believe in that. So we have to do something. So the quick outcomes, they are also expecting the outcome to be in agile fashion, not only implementation of agile, but also the outcome to be in terms of the revenue. Okay, well, when can I see some quick returns? But I understand, I think we are running out of time. So thank you again, everyone.
Again, the wonderful panel. I think so many years of combined experience in here. Doug, Patrick, and Swami, thank you so much. I hope our participants have been able to learn a lot from all your experience. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Shoukat, and thank you, Hunter and HMG. I appreciate it.
Thanks, great job, Swami, Doug. Great to see you, Patrick. Great to see you. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Excellent. Hey, you're not going to want to miss this next panel. Next up, we have our search executive panel. I see my good friend Tony Leng coming in from LaVallee. Crisis in career, preparing for the next big opportunity. And we have David Morris coming in from California. Nice. We got a little global summit going on here, John.
Yeah, I did.
Take it away, John. It's all yours.
Hey, thanks very much. So So let's focus on how the pandemic crisis has changed the marketplace for IT positions and what IT leaders can do in response. I want to have a little bit of fun with this. I'd like to build quickly a World Series analogy. Think of it this way. If your success is dependent on hiring the right transformational leaders and building effective teams, then please listen for the next few minutes to the expertise of this all-star team I have acquired. Think of me as your manager, a former CIO and now successful executive search partner. Here's the situation. This is the bottom of the ninth, and you need one run to win. So I'm going to introduce you first of all to my leadoff hitter. He's had numerous hits across many companies, recently awarded as a top global technology executive who matters, Michael LaVallee, currently managing partner with Jobplex. Hello, Michael.
Hi, John, and thanks for the kind words. You know, if we're this close to a virtual happy hour here, bat and cleanup, you know, I'm ready. I don't know about you.
All I want to do is get you on base here, so we can score you later on. So yeah. let's start with the. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead, John.
Yeah, let's take a look at some questions here with this topic. How have CIOs leveraged the challenges of dealing with COVID to build even stronger relationships with the business, perhaps better understanding the business issues and building support for further IT business initiatives?
John, that's a great question. Thank you. You know, one of the things I've seen, and I think one of the previous panelists hit on it as well, Patrick. You know, I've noticed that, gosh, COVID's brought out the best in IT. It's been a great time for IT professionals to shine, right? Because whatever's gone on in IT has enabled everything that's, you know, allowed for work from home. It's enhanced digital capabilities. So I think it is one of these really amazing times to be in technology. What I've noticed is the really good top CIOs that we work with have utilized this opportunity in a really positive way. They're kind of using the momentum and goodwill that's been built up with their great response to build and to better and more firmly cement their business relationships around the company, and to have those conversations and to figure out where they can add even more value around the company. So I think as we look at how do people position themselves for further advancement, right? You want to do good work. Good work begets the chance to do more good work. So if you're finding value, if you're able to get through a COVID plus drive deeper relationships across the business, those are things that folks like myself in the search business are going to be wanting to know about. And to the extent that you can articulate those, the better you are in terms of positioning yourself for, you know, for your next role.
We've heard some of that today as well, and thanks for reinforcing that. That's certainly a key element as we go forward here. I want to introduce you to my my next batter. He's an accomplished hitter with significant wins in the Carolinas. Recently with the San Francisco Giants, I've acquired him from them. His job is to move Michael around to scoring position. Tony Leng, Managing Director of Diversified Search. One other thing, you know, if you could talk about what's changed about what you look for in candidates.
100%. I'll try and focus on that. But what impact? Obviously, COVID slowed us down, but things have sped up dramatically, and here's why. Villains and heroes have emerged. Villains are people who frankly couldn't do the job. They're out of work, so if you're out of work, be careful. There's a good and a bad element to that. Heroes, like Patrick said, have had their budgets protected and their agendas have been sped up a lot. What's more complex is the social agenda initiatives that have come in as well. So what has changed and what are we looking for now? Well, basically we're always looking for people to move the business forward and introduce digital data and with commercial savvy. That, like everything else, is sped up. More and more people are looking for this, but the complexity has gone up dramatically. CIOs now need to think like CEOs. They've got to be top line driven as well as bottom line driven. And the thing that's changed is, frankly, people need to be adaptively resilient to what's happened around them. No one had a game plan. No one knew what to do. So people can't come and bullshit me. Yeah, I had a plan. I knew exactly what to do. That's just not true. And what I'm looking for is people to show a little bit of humility, a little bit of vulnerability, quite a lot of openness, and a lot of authenticity about how they went about solving these problems, demonstrate they can communicate well, take their place at the senior leadership team, and articulate the new direction the business must take from a digital and an engagement perspective, while at the same time appreciating and understanding the social agenda around diversity that's now included in the mix. So business acumen, complexity, speed, agility, and adaptive resilience, all of those things, that's what I'm looking for.
Incredible insight. I really appreciate that, Tony. Let me bring up our cleanup hitter, David Morris. David Morris is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Hyper Solutions. David, can David be brought in?
Hi there.
Hey, David. Love that background. So, David, let's talk about some people in transition. How can they best position themselves for higher impacts? What are the types of change leaders that you're finding are most sought after these days?
Yeah, well, hello, everyone. Good to see you. It's really about being able to bring a solution to the table. So the research is critical. Before we win a new client now, we've done so much research on what the biggest change initiatives are for the board and the CEO. And we're showing up with a proposal on who to bring in as an A team to be able to go solve their number one big bet. So
talk a little bit about Hyper Solutions as far as the background goes there.
Yeah.
What your business is.
We're a next generation change management solution. So we get brought in usually by a CEO or an executive sponsor who's looking to change or make some big bet. It might be an ERP, it might be a digitization, but there's something that CEO has committed to Wall Street and they can't screw up.
I see.
And what they use us for is to really look at the overall team. So the leader and the key direct reports driving that change effort. So the advice that I have is do the research. Try to see what the 2 or 3 big change initiatives are that CEO has and bring a solution to the table. Have a conversation with them. Interview them, qualify them as much as them qualifying you. And think about the 2 or 3 people you might bring along. What's the team you would bring? What role do you play? Are you the idea person? Are you the planner? Are you the manager? But thinking about from the customer standpoint, the CEO or the board, they're trying to reduce risk. They just want to bring a team in that's, to Tony's point, that's proven to do this before, and did not leave because they struggled. And by the way, let's say you struggle. Let's say you got fired. Let's just say you got fired from your last job because you were lousy. Think about what role you're best in and pair up with a couple other people so as a team you're really good. And then do the research on the companies you're interested in so that, you bring a very low risk solution to, a timely problem that CEO may have. You get recruited as a team.
Let me ask you a follow-up. Since you've got a lot of interaction, and so do several on this panel as well, with dealing with the board of directors and so forth. What are you hearing from them? What are their plans for 2021 as far as investment in transformation?
Well, I think a lot of it is whether they've earned the right to be able to now make some of those very big bets. You know, I think coming into the pandemic, I mean, they were all saying the same thing: cash conservation. We got to get through this. I think the smart ones have had just record profits because they've been able to lower costs in so many different ways, and layoffs and this and that. So, I mean, those that have kind of, you know, delivered good numbers this year. I was just speaking to a CTO before this at a Fortune 500, and he was saying their numbers are so good that their CEO now has an opportunity to tell Wall Street, you know, let's bet a few $100 million on so-and-so. But what I'm basically hearing is there's two things. There's the core of the business. Have they done well in the core of the business? And now they can tell Wall Street, we're going to take a big bet. But if they've not done well in the core of the business, then Wall Street's not going to believe in the opportunity on the big bet. So I think that's
sometimes it looks
this year.
Yeah, good insight. Sometimes it looks like Wall Street and Main Street are on different wavelengths here, and But then if you kind of lift up the covers, you can see those on Wall Street. I mean, they're being discounted. They're companies, like you say, that have made big bets and it's paid off, perhaps, or they're not in the right industry that's flourishing these days.
Hey, John, we're about out of time. I hate to say we're cut short here, but it's always good to see you, John, Tony, Michael, David. This is a signature element and a core element to all of we do it here at HMG, is raise the brand of the tech leader and introduce them to top search execs and change agents like you all.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thank you, Hunter.
Looking forward to seeing you all soon in person, hopefully soon enough.
Amen.
And good luck in the golf outing. Happy that we sponsored it, John.
Week from Monday, 10 days from now. Thanks for bringing Sheila Jordan in. Thank you.
That's awesome. Hey, folks, that's a wrap. What a great summit. Great program. Great collaboration with the Charlotte Sim chapter. Big shout out and thanks to Better Cloud, RingCentral, and Rubrik. Also, want to mention everyone will receive a copy of my book, new book, Enterprise 2025. Kind of excited. On the back cover, a pretty significant CEO, Eric Wan, saying that the HMG network is the network to collaborate and participate in. And I'd like to bring in August Policio. August, we have the recognition program to go through, right, August? Good to see you.
That's right. Good to see you, Hunter. Thanks. And thanks, everybody, for staying right till the end of the program here so we could recognize the 2020 Global Technology Executives Who Matter. First up on the program, I'd like to welcome back CJ Das to the screen. CJ is the CIO of Randall Riley. He's being recognized today for embracing each new normal, being proactive as a courageous leader, and saying things like, every company is a technology company. CJ says information technologies will be at the heart of business models for many years to come. That's why your quick thinking CIOs visionary outlook should be encouraged and nurtured with the support of your entire team, making customer experience the heart of your business, syncing your data across channels, automating robotic tasks and processes, and rethinking security.
Hi, I'm CJ Das, Chief Information Officer at Randall Riley. It is very gratifying to receive the award Global Technology Executives Who Matter in 2020. This award is a result of hard work of my team, which I am fortunate to have. This is your award. We are almost a 100-year-old company, but we keep up an entrepreneurial spirit. We keep a fast pace akin to a startup company, and we are always investing in technology R&D to come up with new products and innovations. Thank you, HMG, for recognizing my team at Randall Riley.
Michael LaVallee. Michael was just on our last panel. If you'd like to turn your video back on, we'd happily welcome you to the screen here. Michael has over 35 years of experience as a managing partner with his own firm before joining Jobplex in 2019. We consider him a rock star search executive. He upholds modern values in recruiting for the positions of the present and the future. Michael's known for his thorough review process and for finding candidates that are a seamless fit for the companies and the teams. Deep diving into the candidate pools, the way he's able to build teams that complement company cultures and help push teams to be more productive and cohesive in the long run. Michael, we're really impressed with everything that you do. You're a real rock star search executive in the Charlotte area, and congratulations on receiving this award.
Thank you so much, August, and thank you so much, Hunter, for having me. I am humbled and honored to accept the HMG 2020 Global Tech Executives Who Matter Award. I'm going to accept it on behalf of my research team because, as most of you know, us search guys are only as good as our research teams. And I can tell you that DHR Jobplex platform has the best research in the business, and it helps our clients win every day. So I'm pleased to accept the award, and I think the clip will show a few of our research team in action.
Hi, Mike. Oh.
Good job. Congratulations. Great job.
Hey, Michael, thanks for being such a great supporter over the years. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Hunter. Really happy to support. And I'll tell you, some of the folks that are in your global network, my final takeaway to the folks at this conference is, look, get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, find folks that you can bounce ideas off of. And there's no better place than an HMG strategy to find those role models, those mentors, those people to ask questions about how to do things. What a great source. So thanks for all you do, Hunter, and really pleased to be here.
You know, hey, just a little advertisement, Michael. We're going to launch a CXO group in the next few weeks, and you'll be able to network across our platform globally and ask questions of other tech leaders. So stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Hunter.
Finally, we'd like to recognize today Angela Yoakum, who's the Executive Vice President, Chief Digital and Technology Officer of Novant Health. Accepting on her behalf this afternoon will be Misty Fragan. Hey, Misty, how are you this afternoon?
I am good. Thank you so much. Honored to be here. And I know Angela appreciates it as well. So we're very excited.
We really present the award to the team as a whole. So we're happy to have you here accepting. But just for the audience, a little bit of background on Angela. So I like to say that the average CTO is not really prepared to handle every responsibility necessary for digital growth. Angela's experience working with C-level technology executives has prepared her for the responsibilities of this unique position she has at Novant. It's sort of a hybrid CTO, CDO position created specifically for her to allow her to perform to her best and most irreplaceable strengths. Angela says, if as a technology leader, I am just dutifully buying off the shelf whatever solutions are made available to me by the traditional vendor community, I have not necessarily differentiated my company through technology. She's really committed to pursuing different new technologies and thriving and empowering digital transformation. Congratulations to you and Angela and the team at Novant Health, and we're happy to have you on the program today.
Thank you so much. I know we're honored. We appreciate all of the support also from Hunter, from everyone at HMG. We are honestly, working with Angela and being a part of our teams at DPS and Novant Health. We are constantly moving and constantly innovating. And the best part of it is it's a complete collaboration between everybody. So I'm honored to be under her leadership, and we are thrilled to be able to accept this award today. Thank you so much.
Very cool. Say hello, Misty, to Angela. Great to see you as well. You've been a great contributor at some of our events as well. A really dynamic HR lead and professional. And also Angela's going to be involved with our inaugural October 26th Women in Technology global summit coming up here. Get the word out.
Absolutely. Thanks, Hunter. Great to see you.
Great. Thanks. Great to see everyone. Stay in touch and reach out to me if you're interested in getting involved with the HMG CXO program, which is looking at fast, cool technologies that are emerging from around the globe, as well our question and answer model that will be there shortly. Thanks, guys. Be in touch.